Hello, this is OverlordBou back with another information video, and today we're going to be taking a first look at the Monmouth. This ship is entered testing in 13.11. This is a Gibraltar hull with a different take on the guns, and we'll go over that in a little bit. So first, let's talk about the armor layout, and again, this is a first look video, so taking a first look at the test ship. Just talking about the stats and our theories on the game style, and there will be official review once the ship is actually released. So, for the armor, it has a Gibraltar hull, so it has a 25mm bow, 30mm deck, and side armor plating, with the 25mm aft. For the Citadel plating, it has 178mm, and if you take a look at the Citadel here, it is raised in the middle like a lot of the British cruisers. So definitely be careful showing your broadside in this ship, along with or not being angled in the front or the aft, or those battleships or heavy cruisers will pack you a new one and send you back to port. For the artillery, you have two 34mm guns that have a 13.6 second reload. And they have a range of 19.8 kilometers. Now, as a comparison to the Gibraltar, this ship does have the exact same gun angles, which I'll be showing on the screen. As you can see, the front guns when angled back are 45 degrees, and the rear gun pointing forward is 37 degrees of when they can fire. Yeah, that gun angle is very, very poor. You are going to be showing a lot of broadside when trying to play this ship. Yeah, you got to be very careful with how you play it, or you're going to be death struck very easily. The ship does get the British super heal, which is very similar to the Minotaur, if you want to reference that. And you can pick a Hydro or DFAA for your third consumable. This ship does come with the AP and 10-kilometer torpedoes, which I'll get into the torpedoes in a little bit. But for the shells themselves, they are very similar to the Gibraltars, but they have slightly worse pen fuse times. So they have slightly worse fuse times, but they have about the same ricochet angles. So they can pen angled holes really well, and they also have better pen as well. So the Gibraltar has a 0.3 second fuse time for whenever it penetrates a ship. This ship has a is it 0.22, or is that the drag coefficient I'm talking about?
The fuse time is 0.033. That's standard.
Okay.
The drag coefficient is 0.22.
Oh, yeah, my bad. So yeah, the ship's shells don't slow down over time, so the shell arcs are really good. Compared to the Gibraltar, so the shells are going to be a lot flatter for this ship, so it's going to be a lot easier to aim this ship compared to like the Gibraltar with having the better arcs, so it'll be a lot easier in that regard. We're going to talk about the guns for a little bit there, SAT, what makes them different from the Gibraltar.
So the fuse time, as Bo said, is actually different. Gibraltar gets the fast fuse similar to like Minotaur, but the Monmouth gets the regular fuse time. It has better penetration, relatively speaking, and with that improved flight time, it seems like it's better suited to hitting battleships and cruisers. Like the fuse time won't arm on most destroyers, but against a broadside cruiser or a battleship at closer ranges, I expect Monmouth to do pretty well in that regard. Especially since with the improved ricochet angles, you can hit opponents at angles that they are not expecting.
Yep, for sure. Those ricochet angles are really going to throw people off whenever they fight this ship. So moving from the guns, let's talk about the torpedoes. So you get how many torpedoes per side? You get 4 torpedoes per side that are 10 kilometers. They do about 16,000 damage, so that is a lot of damage for the torpedoes. So those torpedoes are definitely used more as in if you're rushing at somebody, or if you're more near your island, or if you're kiting away, using those torpedoes in that regard. But trying to be like a kiting torpedo ship, this ship is definitely not going to be one of those with those torps.
Yeah, it's likely your emergency torpedoes.
Yep, exactly. So for this ship does have airstrike depth charges, thank God. You do get 2 charges. for the airstrikes. And yeah, they're pretty typical. 8-kilometer range for tier 10. That's pretty normal. And the depth charge damage is also normal as well with 4,900. So nothing really to speak about there. For the anti-air, you do have 5.8-kilometer anti-air. You do have 6 flat clouds, which is about average for the tier. Not the best, not the worst. About average for the flat clouds. For the continuous damage, it's not the best, not the worst. For the long range, it has the 126. For middle, it has a 330, and for the short, it has a 196. So definitely not something to speak home about. It'll still be able to deal with tier 8 aircraft carriers really well with the anti-air, but dealing with tier 10s or supers, they're still going to be hitting you, unfortunately. For the maneuverability, it has 32 knots, which is incredibly slow for tier 10 cruisers. When you have the speed flag on, it does go up to 33.6. You do get the signature British acceleration for this ship, so you can do throttle juking with this ship. The turning radius is 840, which is really nice for a cruiser this big. That is really nice. So you are able to use since you can't build into propulsion, you can build into the steering gears instead to get a tighter turning radius. Well, you'll get to turning the radius quicker with 10 seconds. Really nice for you to be able to dodge using the jukes there with the front throttle and from your rudder. The final stuff we talk about is the concealment. You have 11.5 kilometer concealment with a surface detection from the air of 7.5 kilometers. Yeah, I don't like that 7.5 kilometers for the aerial. That's pretty big for a cruiser, but this ship is also big itself, so not totally surprised. The smoke firing penalty is 9.5 kilometers, so if someone is kind enough to smoke you up, they better make sure that there's no one within 9.5 kilometers, or you're going to get death struck from any battleship that sees that juicy broadside of yours. But overall, what do you think of this ship's stats there, SAT?
Okay, so to summarize, Monmouth has practically the same hull as the Gibraltar, which, as Bo said, the Citadel, I think you said was high, right?
It is high in the middle. Yeah, it's identical to Gibraltar.
Yeah, you do get a super heal, which is nice, but you need to really make sure not to show broadside, or otherwise you're gonna hate life. And unfortunately, with those turret angles, it is very tempting. You might have some problems trying to get all your guns on at once while avoiding broadside.
Yep.
The main guns, all AP only, is nothing new, but it looks interesting just because it has flatter trajectories and the penetration is higher. So in theory, Monmouth should be able to perform better against cruisers and battleships, but the fuse does not let her perform as well against destroyers.
Yep,
compared to the Gibraltar.
Yeah, those guns do look very unique, and I am excited to be able to test them whenever the ship is about to come out. It looks really fun to try them out for sure, so definitely interested to see about those guns, because those guns do have 6,143 max damage for those per shell, and you do have a lot of guns. There are 12 guns on this ship, so it can pack a wallop with that many guns.
Yep.
So
the rest of the ship is not really that impressive, except for the acceleration, of course.
Yep.
So if it were to summarize, it looks kind of like they're trying an open water version of the Gibraltar, just because you essentially traded smoke for the enhanced acceleration and the super heal, while also modifying its guns to be better at longer ranges.
Yep, so for the build of this ship, just throwing it out there, the one that we're really testing these stats off of is main armament, hydroacoustics, aiming, rudder shift, concealment, and reload. For the commander build, we have grease the gears, incoming fire alert, and consumable enhancement, adrenaline rush. Of course, you want heavy AP since the ship only has AP shells, superintendent concealment, and outnumbered. Outnumbered can be switched with top grade gunner, either or, depending upon your preference. But that's just a build that we're just kind of like just
Theorizing.
Yeah, theorizing, of course. It's just theorizing. So anyway, if you guys have any questions or concerns about this ship, just let us know in the comments down below. But thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.